Welcome back to another episode of the Bamboo Season Podcast. I'm your host, sober wellness coach Dorian Wormsley, the podcast where you will hear real stories from real people to get you real growth. A lot of the times we see people where they're at now, but we don't know the journey it took to get them there. A lot of ups, a lot of downs, identity shifts. The conversation today will exactly tap into that. You may think that one thing that was going to get you out, that one thing that was going to take you to the next level, and then it goes away. Something you train for, something you practice your whole life, an instrument, a sport, whatever. And at some point, it's gone. Now what do you do? Now who are you without that one thing you thought was going to be who you were the rest of your life? My guest today is going to share his experience, how he rebuilt himself, his identity, and now is doing something even greater than what he could have imagined. Woo, it's a fire intro. I bring you Tyler Gaston.
What's the deal?
Let's go.
It's good to see you again, my friend.
Man, hold on. I'm hyping myself for that intro. That was fire. But anyways, thank you for making time today, coming on this show. You've been on my radar for a while when I wanted to bring you on. I was just unsure of when. Timing is everything. You know?
Absolutely.
So for my audience who doesn't know you, let us know who you are, what you do, who you help.
Yeah. What's up, TV land? Tyler Gaston, also known as Gas, the owner of the Gas Station Studios, former professional athlete, football. Engineer, super producer, film producer now, director, all of these different things. And most importantly, I'm like all of North Las Vegas, West Las Vegas' big brother at this point. Community leader, mentor, extraordinaire.
That's amazing. And I like what you mentioned about former NFL player.
Mm-hmm.
So football was your sport, and kind of what I talked about in the intro. Before football, before being a super producer, who was Tyler?
The super producer, right? I wouldn't say I was a super producer then, but I was absolutely like already into music, film, before even going to UNLV. Those who know me in the city, like even before UNLV, they saw that I had, talents and natural gifts in music. I come from a musical family. We all grew up in church and played an instrument or, did some of that sort. And I started producing and engineering when I was 13.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I ended up at UNLV by way of football, a football scholarship, but they did have music technology there. So, that's how the start was before, I kind of really just focused on football and let it take me as far as it did.
Yeah, so speaking of UNLV, that's where we met initially years ago, 2010, 11, something like that. It's been a long time. We used to hoop, and I used to give you buckets.
Hold on,
and
hey,
that's where we met. So
hold on, the conversation gotta be truthful. We gotta have a foundation of honesty, and transparency for the people out there now. Okay?
No, but it's through social media, because I haven't seen you some time, but through social media, it's been great to see.
Yeah.
You found your way back to what you truly seem to love. Like you said, 13, because a lot of people would have stayed with football. That's their main thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's gone. And now you found a new wave. And I'm just watching your social media and you have your own studio and it's just growing. I'm like, damn, okay. This dude rebuilt his identity himself and is now still doing something great.
Mm-hmm.
With football, when did you start playing? How old were you?
5 years old. Yeah. 5 years old, bro. I never spent a summer without transitioning from football to basketball, back to football. It's always like never an open off season. I was one of those students or student athletes that never even took spring break or any of that because the idea of going to the NFL or basketball, right, going to the NBA was always present. And then you take into account my natural size, right?
Yeah.
I came out 2 feet at birth.
Damn.
Right?
Big baby.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, it's
Thick.
always, hey,
yo.
Yeah, bro. So, it was natural, bro. It was natural to be thrown into football. And of course, for minorities, man, it seemed like music and sports is like the Negro dream,
Yeah.
It's like, damn, it don't have to be like that, but, for me, for you, I'm sure you thought you were going to the NBA. And then you got as tall as you could in the 5th grade, right? And, you start to reshape the way you think for me, I got a little bit closer.
Okay. Real quick, if he pulls his bike down, can you still hear him? Because I want to make sure he still can see his face. You pull it down a little bit?
Yeah.
Can you still hear him? Yeah.
Yeah. Can y'all see me? TV land?
Just so when you can see your face.
Am I looking good? Am I straight?
Yeah. We could just block it on me the whole time.
You still try?
So, it's crazy. A lot of you just said that I want to touch on, but the moment for me when I realized I was not going to go, obviously height, but I remember playing, I was a sophomore in high school and I was playing at Cambridge Rec. I was hooping and there was this dude hooping. He was nice. And I'm like, damn, I thought he was older. He was like, yeah, I'm a sophomore too.
Damn.
And I was like, yeah, I ain't going nowhere.
That's tough.
You know who it was? It was Pierre Jackson.
Swear to God.
Yeah.
P?
Yeah. It was like Cambridge in sophomore year of high school. And I remember
that's tough.
Hooping. And then I was like, what's interesting is that when you're hooping, you're kind of in your vicinity of your people, right? Like the same rec center, the same high schools.
Yeah.
This is 2007. We're not driving around town. So you think you're nice in your area.
Yeah.
But at Cambridge, you bring everybody out. And I remember he was just bounce and all that. I'm like, damn, this dude must be a senior. He's like, yeah, no, I'm 15 too. I'm like, oh, yeah, this ain't for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna play through high school. That's cool.
that's a tough comparison though.
It is, but you see, he went pro. He, he's nice.
He's honestly probably one of the greatest in the world though, bro. Like at that height, at least.
Yeah, 5'9" and just bouncy, quick, all that. And he's found his way also.
Yeah.
Shout out to Pierre. Get you on the podcast soon.
Yeah. Shout out Pappy Jack. Man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what you said about, it's unfortunately that is in Black and brown communities, their idea to get out and make it is entertainment or sports.
Yeah.
For you growing up, I know your size played a part. What was your upbringing like? Was there any role models around you to show you a different way? Anybody pushed you towards sports, or it was just like a natural habit to think, this is how I'm going to get out?
I kind of had both.
Okay.
Growing up, like I said, we have a musical family, right? So my dad and a bunch of my older cousins had a traveling quartet group, and they would go and perform at the House of Blues, like here and in different cities. Like they were actually on tour. They have plaques from gospel albums and different things that they released on their own accord. So I did see music too, so that inspiration was there. But of course, man, it's tons of coaches and older cousins and siblings and stuff like that play ball. A lot of the top talent that came out my year, at least from Vegas, we all knew each other growing up. We just ended up playing for different schools. And so, Pop Warner and all the biddy ball teams, they take the best of the best athletes and best students from, similar neighborhoods, and they put them all together. So all of us shared uncles, all of us shared dads. Coaches, double back as uncles and dads and big brothers and stuff like that. So, the football inspiration or encouragement was always there.
Yeah. And where'd you go to high school again?
I went to Desert Pines at first, and then I transferred to Rancho.
What year are you?
2010.
Oh, so right behind me. So, yeah, so you knew Mike Ball.
Yeah.
Reggie
That's
Shaw.
Big bro, yeah.
Who else was the hooper over there at Desert Pines at time? It was one more person.
Yeah. P.
The dude with the bounce. Jason West.
Jason West.
West.
Shout out all my big brothers, man.
Yeah.
If y'all watching this, I'll still give y'all buckets to this day.
Anyways. And then Rancho. I don't know nobody from Rancho that around that time period for me at least.
Yeah.
Iris? Was there a guy named Iris that was there?
No,
I'm making stuff up.
You know Amir?
No.
Okay.
Desert Pines, yeah. I went to Del Sol. They used to beat DP in football. It was crazy. That was a good time.
I feel like that was a barely type situation, maybe. I don't know about that.
You laughed at DP. Anyways, damn. We never gonna make it.
Chill, bro.
And okay, so your childhood, and then you make it to UNLV. You got a scholarship to UNLV.
Yep.
What position were you playing?
Defensive tackle.
DT.
Yeah.
Shout out to Cam too.
Yeah, that's my dog.
Cam
man.
Jefferson. I'm gonna get him on here eventually too, man.
Yeah.
Y'all were two great homies to have during that period of time. You guys
they used to
funny.
think we were like twins for real on campus. But he's the ugly one. So I'm like, damn, if he ugly and I'm his twin, does that make me ugly too? What you think?
Yeah, you ever see that video of Chris Brown and Funny Marco? When he asked him about his sister? Like,
hell no.
Look just like, that's what I feel about you when you said that. No, hell no. Y'all look alike. Anyways, so Tyler, you finished football. You finished football. Did you go all 4 years?
I did.
All 4 years. And then what happened after that? What was the next step after you finished your fourth year?
Bruh. So first, I was supposed to be 5 years, right?
Red shirt?
Right. Halfway through the season, they pulled my red shirt. Like, hey, you're playing. So that could have been they needed someone. It could have been a combination of I was really balling, right, and they needed someone. I think that's what my story is. I was doing very well. I was doing exceptional as a freshman, like in practice and all types of stuff, and I was showing like, extensive growth. So they pulled my red shirt, man, mid-season. My first game was against West Virginia. And so, so I played from then. When I got to like my junior, senior year, I was like well in my bag at that point. Senior year was really great. I led the team in sacks. I went from defensive end my freshman year to defensive tackle. So my senior year, I was playing defensive tackle. That year, surprisingly, man, I had a bunch of, NFL teams to meet with me during that season. And so that was the first UNLV team in, I think, over 10 years to go to like a bowl game or something like that. Shout out our senior class. Long story short, after that season, the NFL was a option. It was a conversation. So I met with a bunch of teams. I did my pro day and stuff like that. And then San Diego was the most consistent out of all the teams that I talked to. So Kansas City was on there. They were pretty consistent, just not as much as San Diego. San Diego even offered to give me a agent and all of that. So to me, it was like, okay, Vegas is right here. San Diego's right across the street, right? That's beautiful. Plus, they have beautiful weather. So my mind was pretty set on San Diego. And then, yeah, bro, you want to talk this camp story or what?
Yeah, talk it through. Take us there. We got time. Got to hear the story, the full script.
Yeah, man. So as you can see, that story makes me sick. So yeah, man, after my senior season, I get invited out to camp at San Diego. And excuse me, bro. I get invited out to camp at San Diego. And I do well at camp. I came in, I was playing like a 3-tech for them. A bigger defensive end. I balled, in my opinion. I did well.
But you also thought you were handsome, so your opinion's kind of...
Yeah, I mean, that could be a thing. Open the comments up for people to let me know what
is he delusional, yes or no?
In the camp, man, Coach Don Johnson, the defensive line coach, calls me into his office. He said, man, Cass, let me talk to you. He's like, hey, bro, we love you, dude, on and off the field. But at the end of the day, this decision isn't up to us. We have guys that we've already invested in because I went undrafted.
Yeah.
Right. And so they had guys that they already spent a budget on, right? Knowing the NFL now, I understand that every move, every dollar has to be accounted for, right? And so I feel like I could have did better because I shouldn't have left any questions on the table on whether or not it was worth it for them to create a space for me. And so I feel like I made it a hell of an argument. But at the same time, if they just invested in these guys and they spent money on these guys, they got to see it through with these guys, regardless if, this wild card guy over here came out of nowhere and made a good impression. Thank you, bro. I appreciate you. This must be Arrowhead. He took the label off the water. That's crazy.
Yeah, he thirsty.
Thank you. Whatever, bro.
Big gulp.
You thirsty.
So you get cut.
Yeah, definitely. I got cut. But at first, man, you'll watch shows like what's that damn show? Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
Right? And it puts like the fear of the NFL, the fear of getting cut in everybody's brain, right? Like you got janitors watching that show and they feel like they got cut when people get cut. And then, they make it a show about how they cut people. right? They don't tell people ahead of time. They just show up to the building. They pull on the door.
Oh,
They
yeah.
code don't work and shit. Like, that's fucked up. You know?
Happened to you? They talked to you. They
That
talked
didn't
to you.
happen to me.
Okay.
Yeah, mine just kind of is what it was. Like, honestly, I wouldn't even say I got cut because they were trying to create a space for me, right? So officially, I wouldn't even say like I was on roster. I had to earn that spot. It was always up for debate. So to get as far as I did, right, is a flex on its own. You're talking about something that the percentages of even getting a D1 scholarship versus, like just a regular scholarship or D2 and all this other stuff, right? Those percentages are shitty. Like your chances of getting that are low in comparison to all the people who start off playing football, right? Or start off with that dream. And then to do and accomplish what I was able to accomplish through a D1 college, and then going to the NFL is a whole nother, level. So if I was having that conversation with a Pierre Jackson, like my brother, right, with a Xavier Grimble who played for SC and went on to play for Steelers, then there's a difference, right? Then there's a difference in how we talk, because those guys, even Cameron Jefferson, he got a Super Bowl ring,
Yeah.
right? With the
Broncos.
With the Broncos, right? So if I'm talking amongst them, then there's a difference, right? Because all of us at least made it to be able to walk that field and live that life. But if I'm talking to a normal person, it's not really nothing they can say to me about the NFL or being cut or any of that that would at least, kind of alter my way of thinking or affect my demeanor about that NFL conversation. Because it's hard, bro. It's hard shit, man. I'm sure we're gonna talk about the side effects after that.
Yeah.
Of football, but that is.
Let me ask you this: what was a harder transition physically, in the sense of competition, from high school to college, or college to NFL?
I feel like if I would have played in games, NFL games against other teams, my perception would be different. I feel like you would get to actually see why certain people are paid, a certain amount of money, right? Like playing against Michael Orr or something, right? This fucking monstrous offensive lineman, right? Who's also the best of the best, not just the best of Nevada, right? Or this Western Division to go to the league. So if I had have played against more top NFL caliber talent, I feel like I would say the transition from college to NFL was a little bit more physical or tough on the body. But from my experience, I think going from high school to college was more of a shock.
I'm sure, because in high school it's all everybody's the same age basically almost, and you go from a 17, 18-year-old to, granted, there's some other freshmen your age, but there's also some 3-4 year, early 20-year-old men there, and maybe even some older than 20, because they're in their fifth year or whatever.
Right.
So they pretty much are grown men. And you over here, kind of like that story of was it Kobe Bryant, I think, when he was a rookie and went into the NBA and they were like drinking, smoking, all that. He's here, a 17-year-old.
Yeah,
it's kind of almost the same thing. It's probably a culture shock. What for you? You stayed in the same city, so I'm pretty sure you knew a good amount of people. Was there anything that shocked you when you got into the college life?
Hell yeah.
Like what?
These are grown men, bro. Like, right? They're like 20 and on the team with us, like in the locker room. So, and there's no like, I guess, period of grace, right? You go in and you're training and practicing against vets who have been there. And the same thing is in the NFL, but at that point, right, when you get to the NFL, you're kind of a professional at some point, right? Like you've already kind of learned a lot about the game, and now it's about fine-tuning the little details to make sure that you're doing the basics at a level that keep you on the roster, right? But everybody knows how to play football when you get to the NFL. But coming from high school where you're the best amongst this pool of talent, you get to college, and for a lot of athletes, that's the first time you start really developing micro mechanics, right? You start like breaking down the idea that you came in as the greatest fucking, greatest player to ever see whatever college you got a scholarship to. And then when they reveal behind the curtain, you know, you're just one of fucking 100. You know, you're one of 50 or something like that. So a lot of players don't even make it past that point because of the psychological aspect, right? The coaches, the players, and stuff during the recruiting process build you up, right, and keep your ego at the place where they need it to be for you to sign there. And then first day of practice hits, and then you're reminded, or no, you're taught that, bro, you're a cog in the system, right? So I think that for sure is difficult.
How because you went to school here in Las Vegas, I've seen it from my outside experience of people. I've seen people come here on scholarship. They're the best of their sport, not just football. I've seen through a couple sports, and they get caught up in the Las Vegas life.
Yep.
They lose themselves. They lose their focus. And ultimately, some of them I've seen lose their scholarship because they got caught in the Las Vegas life. Was there a moment for you where you almost got caught? Did you get caught? Or was there something you did to make sure you didn't?
Nope. I'm going to get to me. But this is funny right here. We had a running back. I'm not going to say no names, but the UNLV team knows, right? He was dope, too. He was really good, right? All of a sudden, bro, he just fucking disappeared, right? He disappeared for like months. Like nobody walks away from a scholarship for months, right? We randomly see him on campus one day. Bro's eyebrows are gone. He cut his hair off. He's like bald, right? Like full NPC mode, like incognito in a hat. We talked to him. He like, yeah, bro, like I'm trying to get shit together. Long story short, bro was in it with the cartel, bro. It was people chasing him. Yeah, he owed people money. He was trying to kick a drug habit. So to say what you said about how Vegas takes a toll on some of these athletes, especially ones who have never been here, that's a real thing. I grew up here, so I was never into gambling and shit like that, you know, outside of shooting craps or something like that. But going to the casinos was never really a thing for me. A lot of people don't come from a big city, and so coming here and getting the freedom, right? Nobody's over your shoulder. They're expecting you to be an adult and show up to your places on time, right? Like that freedom fucks a lot of student athletes up. Women, right? The Vegas lifestyle, the nightlife fucks a lot of athletes up. So we seen a bunch of that. For me, again, like I was really grounded. Bro, my upbringing was kind of shitty, to be honest. During the time where I was in school, outside of my freshman year, where everything was taken care of for us, right? We had unlimited swipes on our little Rebel card and shit. Bro, when I moved off campus, that shit was such a culture shock for me because I had to remember that I wasn't fucking wealthy. You know what I'm saying? And so staying on campus, that shit was like surreal. Like I had a place to stay. I didn't have to worry about certain shit. Right? Everything's taken care of for us. We got meals upon meals. Bro, I go back to the North, bro, and that shit is a completely different life. I'm going back to a single-parent household. Like, I have a brother there that's also trying to grow up and figure shit out. Like, you know, I'm a man at that point, like, in that household, right? Single-parent home, like, that shit, every dollar count, right? So after my freshman year, I was taking my stipend and paying bills at home. So for me, the shit hit a little bit differently, bro. Like my teammates, some of my closest ones, they kind of knew what I was going through, right? So they'll tell you and they'll speak to the truth about this shit. I played with a different level of intensity because I felt like that really was my ticket out. I appreciated my scholarship a little bit differently because my situation at home was fucking terrible, bro. It was repos. You get what I'm saying? Like, eviction notices, like that shit was still happening while I'm in college, while I'm, seeing possibility. I'm going back to the lack thereof. So college was a moment of clarity. It was redefining in itself. So nah, I couldn't afford to let the stupid Vegas shit get me caught up, bro.
Damn. I never knew this.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. And thank you for sharing that because there's other athletes, previous athletes are going to hear this and it's going to relate to them. And I was going to ask the next question in the sense of like when you did leave and get your scholarship, you're leaving your mom, single parent household, and their situation. Did you ever feel a sense of guilt because now you're living this different life without the stressors of bills or anything? You're kind of, like you said, you feel like you balling. You got the swipes, you got somewhere to eat, somewhere to stay. Meanwhile, moms and the rest of your family in your home struggling. Did you ever feel like guilty?
I did, but not at the same extent of when I moved home. Right, my mom did a hell of a job, just like a lot of other single moms. Like, they do a hell of a job hiding the real circumstances from their children, right? And I feel like my mom did that. So I wasn't even fully aware of, what shit really looked like, what she was making in comparison to what it took to take care of, two boys, right? So when I was on campus, like, there was guilt because I noticed myself not checking in as much. And she would mention, like, hey, like, you don't even talk to me no more. What's that about? Right? And so I felt guilt in that type of way. I was kind of engulfed in football, engulfed in college life, and it was like I was free from home. So I didn't check in as much. I didn't talk to my little brother as much. Friends and all of that that were from the neighborhood, from my past life, right? Before UNLV, I didn't connect with this much because I was just so focused on this goal and getting better and, seeing results in this new life that I was introduced to.
You mentioned you went, so your first year of college, you're staying on campus at UNLV, you got your full ride scholarship, you're a freshman. Your second year, sophomore year, you leave campus, you go live back home with your mom and your brother. You mentioned single household. Where was your father during this time? And even when you grew up, was he around in your life? Did he play a part at any part of your life?
Yeah. Man, I'm so conflicted when I talk about this part because me and my dad's relationship right now is great.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think when I needed him, he wasn't there. And so that was an expectation, right? When you have expectations on relationships with people, whether it be your parents or, significant other or friends and shit, like, it puts weight on the relationship, right? So when I needed my dad and I had those expectations of him being my dad in that way, showing up and, taking care of shit that we needed, it was hard for me to be friends with him. It was hard for me to, talk to him and check in on him because I held so much resent for him not being there, right? During that time, no, my dad wasn't present. I think the divorce kind of like made him internalize that in a way that him and a lot of other, men don't know how to articulate. And so my dad, I feel like he just, kind of recluse, man. He tucked off and was like, they'll figure it out type shit.
How how old were you when they got divorced?
I think I was 14. Yeah, I think I was 14. So I was old enough to understand.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks. I feel like I might have preferred if he was either gone earlier or gone later. But like being old enough to see the difference between two incomes in a household, right? That kind of puts an impact on it. And then also, like, my dad was my best friend growing up, right? He was the most like me. Now I'm more like my mom, right? The driven and blah, 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 blah. But my dad was my refuge growing up when my mom was tripping, right? And so when I lost that, I just kind of, every fucking troublesome thing that happened over the course of, my mom trying to figure shit out for us, I blamed it on him naturally. And then I tied that into other shit like him not showing up to my games and stuff, right? I would leave tickets for him every game until finally, I just stopped asking, right? And so, no, my dad was not present during some of the most pivotal moments, but he was there in the beginning. He was there to set a foundation, right? He was there to help me become level-headed. One of my biggest memories is my dad making me control my anger. I remember I used to throw like major tantrums, bro. And my dad was like, hey, you got to cut that shit out. You are not a normal sized kid, right? That is easily misinterpreted as an adult with a temper. And we all know, like, being a minority, right? That can go bad, really, really bad. And so, me being level-headed and understanding how to displace my frustrations in a lot of ways, that was from him setting that seed. But like I said, man, all throughout college and, for years after football, it took some time to really, forgive my dad for all that stuff. He called me this maybe two years ago, 2.5. I'm just say 3, right? He called me and he was in the hospital. And when I show up this time just to check on him, we didn't even get into the conversation. He just, started spilling the beans, man. Like, man, I'm so sorry for, all of that stuff. I wasn't, present. I wasn't there. And I'm like, man, I'm just coming to check on you, man. I done already made peace with whatever. But for him, I think it clicked. It finally clicked that, he could have been there and he wasn't. And so I think what I mentioned before is very important about the expectations on people, right? Because now I don't need my dad for shit. Like, I provide for my own, right? I even provide for other people at this point in my life. So again, I don't have the expectation of dad, I need you for this. And when I'm calling you, it's because I need something from you. So now when I show up and he just gets to be him with no, without those strings attached, I see why he was my best friend growing up anyway.
So your parents get divorced at 14, and at that point, your dad kind of separates himself from you and the family. So from 14 until what, like, how many years was it before you kind of had this conversation when he was in the hospital?
I was probably 25.
So roughly 10, 11 years.
Yeah.
And something I can relate to in that part and what you just shared of, even though it's good now, he wasn't there when it mattered.
Right.
And I had my dad on my podcast, talked to him. We discussed some things of why he wasn't in my life, because he left my life around the same time as yours, about 12, 13. But we moved to Vegas, so that's kind of why he wasn't around. But he also didn't.
Is your dad Mexican?
No, my dad's black.
Fuck.
What? What?
Because that's another black dad that wasn't there.
Oh.
He could have been Mexican.
Oh, you wanted him to be named Julio.
Damn.
No, I'm named after my dad. And yeah, that's the sad part, but it's sad that the statistics and stereotypes, when they're true, it sucks for black and brown communities, minority communities. Same with how we said we're expected to use entertainment and sports to get out. So that's what drives me as an individual now as a minority. I remember when I went to jail, I kept going to jail. And I remember after the last time I told myself, I was like, this is it. I don't want to be another statistic of a young black man without his father that turns into a criminal in and out of jail, in prison, drug dealing. And that was what I used to drive me to change my life and get better.
Yeah, you were pretty good at that. Like, did you practice? Like,
huh?
You just kept going to jail for that little moment right there?
Yeah.
Like that.
It was crazy. When I think back on it, man, 20.
That's a talent, ain't it?
2000 and the first time I went to jail was 2011 for DUI. From then all the way until 15, like 4 years, it was always some petty, to my eyes, petty, but it was always alcohol.
Yeah.
Alcohol was always involved. DUI, underage drinking. I got caught in the club with a fake ID. They 86 me. I went back 2 weeks later. They found me. And then when they found me, they arrested me. When they arrested me, I had an ecstasy pill.
Damn.
1 pill. So they took me to jail for that.
Yeah.
And then I got out. It got to a point to where I knew the routine of when I went to jail. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to get in here. I'm going to get my little thing, eat my bologna sandwich, and be in the holding tank.
Damn.
They're going to get me a thing. I knew the whole routine. Okay, I'm going to get out at this time. And yeah, and that very last time when I did 2 months, that was the longest stint I did. And I was like, yeah, this ain't it.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry to say, you're a loser.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I felt, like a straight loser. Here I am, 2 months, and somebody's telling me when to wake up, when to eat, when to go to bed. There is no outside. You can watch TV, but outside of that, there's nothing to do, and you're stuck in this cell for most of the day. All you can do is read and think about your thoughts and think about how you want to change.
Yeah.
And one thing I told myself was, don't say you're going to change just because you're in a bad spot.
Mm-hmm.
When you get out of here, continue to make these changes, which I did partially, but I kind of went back to my old life. Once I got off probation and I was free again, I went back and hit it hard running. And Granted, jail's not a place I plan to ever go back and I make sure I don't put myself in positions to even risk that. Like at all. No chance, basically. Like seatbelts on always and whatever I can do to make sure I don't put myself in a position to go back. Because jail is just, like I said, I want to be a statistic, man. I don't want to be another minority in and out of jail because my dad wasn't in my life.
Yeah.
Back to what you said about him not being who you needed and expectations. That's something I'm still working on. Here I am 20 years since my dad was out of my life. You'd have the conversations with him is teaching myself to change that perspective of what, or I'm honestly accepting he's not going to be the dad I wanted or need. And at this point, I don't need. I'm a grown adult, 30, almost 35. But that was the hardest part was it's still hard to accept, like, he ain't going to be who I wanted. And it was harder because he went on and had, I'm 15. He has 15 kids.
So you got other kids.
Yeah.
Was he a better dad to them?
Excuse me?
Was he like a better dad?
To them?
To them?
I have no idea. I never met none of them. I met maybe one of the 15 or 13 others.
Damn.
Yeah. And when he told me that, I'm like, so for 20 years, you weren't in my life, but you over here having more kids.
All right. Well, you don't know none of them?
When I was living with him, I was like 10, 11, around that time. Not living with, but seeing him. They had one kid, him and his wife. So he has me. His wife has a kid who he's pretty much the stepdad of. And then I have a sister with him who I know. After that, they had together 12 kids. One of them I know, the oldest. Don't even know. He was a baby when I met him, or he was born, I was around. The rest, don't know their names, don't know what they look like.
Damn.
Nothing. I don't know if they know what I look like. But even if, you asked me if was he a better dad to them, I don't know. In my opinion, I don't think it's possible. That's a lot of bodies, and you're only one person. Even if you're a millionaire and you have finances, energetically, there's no way you could stretch yourself that much. But people make their decisions, let them live with it. That was probably the hardest part, though, was once I found out he had more kids. And I'm like, damn, dude, you'd even try to be in my life, but you have more kids. So it made me feel like an afterthought, like all right, well, you're good.
Yeah.
And that was the excuse. He said, yeah, I thought you were good. You're with your mom. I'm like, what? It's your kid.
Damn.
Regardless if they're good or not, you still want to be in their life. I would think. I get it, can't force people, but to have your first son, same name, almost died, all these things, and nothing in you pulls you to think, oh, man, I want to be a part of his life. That's my son. No, it's more like, he's good. His excuse was, I don't want to come around and ruin it. Dog.
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, bro, if I may, like, I think.
No, yeah, preach.
The same way we give grace to our dumbass friends for the shit that they do, right? You got to realize, like, our parents were once somebody's dumbass friend, right? And so, like, as a kid, you look up to these adults and you hold them to such a high regard, you forget that they're learning how to do that shit too. Like, it's not like they had a go around, you know, and now they're doing it again. So they do make mistakes, and it's not, all right, fuck it, you're not held accountable for those mistakes. But when you think about it like that, right, it allows you to kind of see them in a different, more graceful light and more forgiving, right? And then the forgiveness part, that's for you, right? Forgiveness is for you. It's not for them. It's because you're holding on to shit that, you know, is tied to shit that somebody did to you. So me forgiving my dad, and hopefully I think I would love for you to find that in yourself to completely forgive your pops. But me forgiving my dad was major because it was like a weight off of my shoulders. I started accepting the fact that him not being there made me a fucking dog. You know what I'm saying? Him not being there and, you know, not being present made me become present. And that's a part of the story. So I can continue to create the narrative like, damn, why did all of this shit happen to me? Or I can just accept the fact that it did and it was supposed to, and it's made me everything that I was supposed to be. So, nah, bro, I hope you find that forgiveness for him and y'all really chop it up and really connect, man.
I don't know.
Say that's
I'm not
dead,
even gonna
huh?
hold you. After having him on here, have a conversation. It doesn't matter to him. It don't matter to me. I'm just gonna like similar to what you said. No, but similar to what you said. But I'm not angry.
Yeah.
I'm not angry. I'm not mad.
Yeah.
When he came on here, we talked, and I heard his response of why he wasn't around, and hearing the facts. It was hurtful.
Yeah.
But there was a sense of acceptance for me. 35 now. Like I can't go back to those years. He can't go back to those years. I understand he did what the best he could, but I've worked on myself enough to understand that relationship's where it's at. That's just what it is, right? I don't wish no bad on him or anything. Hopefully he takes care of those kids. Maybe one day I'll have a relationship with them.
Right. Like,
But,
y'all all got Facebook. How y'all don't know each other?
And my last name is not common.
Wormsley.
Yeah, Wormsley. So when you look it up,
I like Wormsley better.
usually people who have it were related somehow, some way. But some of them get too crazy on Facebook, so I had to remove them. Like there was this dude. So there was this kid, 19-year-old out here. I don't know if you saw it or not. 6-7 months ago, his name was Arian Wormsley, and he went and stole a car, killed somebody, ran somebody over, went on a whole high-speed chase. All my like 5 friends sent me the article.
Like, this your brother?
This your cousin? Because the last name's not common. I'm like, dog, I don't even know him.
That's so funny.
I need to make a statement.
That's funny.
I do not know this man.
That's hella funny.
But yeah, it's back similar to what you said. Father not being in my life is what led me to have to build a self-belief, to have to build a drive to want to be better, want to change my life. But part of my growth and wanting to be better was in spite of it. Like, you want to be in my life? I'm going to show you how great I'm going to be because you weren't in my life. That worked. But then you hit a certain point where that must not going to work as motivation anymore. That's where I had to change it and go into the acceptance and forgiving of like, all right, using that as fuel. It's good at first, but eventually to get to another level, you're going to have to heal that wound with your father.
Exactly.
And do some acceptance, which I've done and did. And I feel myself growing more. And I felt, especially me having him on here, my podcast, was because people were like, why would you do this? And I'm like, because I think I'm not the only one. You came on here and you just shared yet a similar experience. So if I'm willing to be the guinea pig for other people, especially people who look like me, who don't have a father, or even females who don't have a father, they understand they're not alone and that they can still do great things and not use the excuse of not having that parent. Because using that excuse, once you hit 18, you're a grown-ass man.
Right.
And that's what I realized. I'm grown now. Dad wasn't around. Okay, so what? Here we are now.
Right.
I'm not going to go to my boss. Hey, couldn't make it today. My dad wasn't in my life. Hey, girl, I'm sorry I cheated on you. My dad wasn't in my life.
Right.
Hey, sorry, I couldn't do this. My dad wasn't in my life. You know that sounds?
Yeah, it's
And
crazy.
that's a problem with you people. You stuck in that victim mindset. Pick yourself up. Take accountability. You are where you are because you're choosing to be there. My dad wasn't around either. I made choices, bad choices, but I used those lessons and turned them into better choices, and now I'm great as can be. Ask about me. Woo, that's a bar. Anywho, that was good. I appreciate you sharing that, man. That's deep.
Yeah.
I want to get back to, you probably wouldn't have got cut if you went to the Cowboys. They would have signed you because the Cowboys are nice.
Goddamn, if I ever went to the Cowboys.
Anyways, so you get cut, right? And up until the moment you get cut from the NFL, that's probably what you thought was your way out. That's everything. I got the size, I got the athleticism, I got the drive, I got that dog. I'm going to make it out, go pro, take care of my mom. You get cut, the whole dream is done.
Yeah.
What happened next? Did you think I'm going to try for another team, or what were your emotions? You got cut. What was your thought process?
Yeah, it was shitty, bro. It was a very, very, it didn't get real dark until I actually chose to walk all the way away. I told this story on a podcast, not too long ago, but I still had opportunity when I left San Diego. Canada was still an option. I had a tryout set up in Houston, right? So there were still some options on the table. There was something about it though that it felt different, right? Like, I knew it was time to chase, my other dreams. My mom is like my spirit animal type shit, right? And before my senior year, before we get on the bus and go to football camp, she asked me, she was like, "Are you sure you want to do football? Are you sure you want to, go to the league? And it was almost an offensive question because she had been there with me through all of it, right? And this is the year that we have been talking about, all right, we're going to change shit. So for her to ask me that question, I didn't even understand the motive behind it. It's like, do you not believe in me, right? Like, what do you mean by this question? Especially when all else fails, right? I know I'm going to come back home and you're going to help me mentally, lock back in and give me the advice I need to go back and keep doing this shit. And so I came to understand that she was seeing things from a spiritual perspective, right? She knew how close I was getting to music and how she saw where my heart was. Your beliefs are not, but in the good book, right, it says that God will give you the desires of your heart, right? Not like the ones you make up, you think you're supposed to have, you think you want. Football was like something I thought I wanted. I never actually enjoyed going to practice and all of that shit. I just believed in delayed gratification, right? I'm going to do all of this shit because of the impact that it's going to have on my life later. I can see what the end goal is if I stick this out. Pause, by the way, that was crazy. But so, she kind of, she already planted the seed. And so I was thinking about the opportunity and thinking about that, getting closer to, my beliefs, my spirituality. And that day when I called my agent, I saw myself, putting the same effort and intensity in what I really wanted to do. And, long story short, here we are, bro. That was through the darkest moment, right? I chose something that was for me. Now I appreciate that the dark moments for anybody. When somebody comes to me, one of my, my mentees or friends or something, they're talking about how they, they're in this place where, they don't have anybody and shit's getting dark. I'm kind of happy. Not happy that, you're in this mental state or you're in depression or something. But at the lowest moment, right, like in the darkest place, that's where you start looking for light, right? If a place is lit up, you don't look for the light switch, right? When you don't have anybody, now you start looking for the answers within yourself because all the distractions are fucking gone, right? And so for me, that low, shitty-ass moment from going from the NFL to my mom's couch and trying to figure out how to pay rent and being fucking 6'5", trying to apply at Family Dollar was low as fuck for me. You get what I'm saying?
Ooh.
Like
6'5", working at
T-Mobile.
T-Mobile.
Come on,
damn,
bro.
get my 444.
You feel me?
Lindy's, boy.
Shit like, hey, all right. God damn it. But nah, that's real, right? Like I felt so out of place. It was so many people that were invested in me going to the NFL that made walking away super hard. It wasn't an easy decision. I'm talking about people who bought me cleats, people who paid for shit that I couldn't afford. Remember, like, my situation was fucked up at home, right? My trainer, he gave me a fighting fucking chance to go to the NFL, and I didn't pay him a dime. He trains all the best athletes in Vegas. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I was thinking about that when I was making my decision to walk away. And so there are byproducts of that decision that I had to live with. I had to figure out how to navigate through for years. Like, even while I was building the business, right? Like, I didn't celebrate birthdays. I'm still kind of like iffy on birthdays because for me, it was like, and these are those depression thoughts, right? For me, why the fuck am I celebrating being here if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing? That's how birthdays felt to me. So it would come around and people would see, the successful moves and certain shit. But to me, I ain't made it to the money I was supposed to get in the NFL. So this shit don't even count. And it was hard for me to watch football. It was hard for me to, talk football. It was hard for me to appreciate certain shit. I still don't really buy a lot of shit for myself. And so like, it's still little things like I'm working through.
What?
Yeah.
So when you made the decision, I'm not going to pursue football anymore.
Yeah.
But then you see your peers, like a Cam Jefferson, like other people you went to school with, you see them making it into NFL, having some level of success.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel?
Conflicted because, man, I'm happy as fuck. That's my fucking brother. You know what I'm saying? Like none of my teammates that made it to the league, um, never once. I don't have a hating bone in my body. You know, whether we talking about the NFL or somebody doing well on a math test, like I'm happy for you. I'm genuinely happy. So I was elated to see, you know, some of my boys go out and do their thing. Cam winning that Super Bowl ring was like evidence that if God can do something in his life, he can most certainly do something in mine, right? We just choosing the path that we want to get blessed in. And so when that happened for him, I'm like, okay, yeah, my time coming. You feel me? Um, Other moments, it was like, damn, it reminded me that I ain't got the money yet. It reminded me that I'm not at my pinnacle. So, you know, there's a negative connotation that comes with that and those thoughts. So, you know, it was kind of both.
Hmm. So now we'll fast forward to where you're at now in life. So you struggle, you put the grind, you put that work in, you get a D1 scholarship. But shout out to you, man. Like you said earlier, statistics, that's not a thing everybody does. You know what I mean? I could look through my phone right now and go through my 300 contacts. It's probably only 5 or 6 that actually went D1 in their sport. That's hard. That's hard.
Yeah.
Because there's how many? Thousands, if not millions of kids across the U.S. playing for that spot. So I'm glad you can appreciate that by yourself and making to that point. And after that, you go to NFL Combine, which another, like you already know your knowledge of yourself. That's another point of life that most people to even get invited or interested.
Right.
Those are some of the top dogs in the world. So now you started I don't want to mess it up. Tell me exactly what your current business is and what it is you do there.
Yeah, so the gas station studio started off as a recording studio, right? When I actually got done with football and I was back at home, somewhere in that next year or so, I was working as a mentor for the city or the county's gang intervention team. So they brought me in to coach athletes that were kind of in the wrong place, right? But also run this program called Music Inspiring Change. So that was one of my day jobs. Okay. That was one of my day jobs. And then I also worked for Gear Up, UNLV's Gear Up, right? And so I was with them for like maybe a year or so, and I was living in a 3-bedroom home where I had turned one of the bedrooms into a studio. And so at that point, I would wake up at like 8 in the morning, go work the first day job, go to the second day job, and then I would run sessions from 9 p.m. to like 2, 3 in the morning. At some point, it became inconvenient for me to have the other 2 jobs because I was just making more money as an engineer, right? And so at that point, the transition was kind of, it made sense, right? I think at some point, like, the growth was pretty much in my hands of how far I wanted to take the business. Yeah. Why are you just staring at me?
I'm listening, letting you finish your thoughts. So
that was a little Gandhi.
So you're
right.
Wise you are. So now you are an engineer. You have your own production company.
Yeah.
You do, what do you do?
That's my
tell
fault.
me, come on.
My
tell
bad,
us.
My bad.
Tell us about your business.
Right.
Let's go.
Right. So the Gas Station Studios is an audio and film production company. We have like a creative depot. There's like multiple recording studios in there. We have a podcast studio. We have a creative event space. So there's like a big cyclorama back there. There's a stage. There's like sound system and all types of stuff. We did have the first film studio in the city's history, right? So we're talking actual film sets like you would see at Warner Brothers or Tyler Perry Studios. We had a jail cell, courtroom, interrogation room, jungle, like all types of shit in that space. But we have since transitioned or shut that side down to transition into the next space. So we're looking at something like a warehouse or, something like that with higher ceilings, and allows us to work with these bigger production companies like Netflix and, HBO and all this shit where they have these big ass, equipment and cranes and stuff like that. So bigger teams, bigger productions, bigger budgets, right? But the music side, the first side that I talked about is still in the industrial corridor in Losi, in Las Vegas, North Las Vegas.
Huh. So with your production company, don't you also, if I'm not mistaken, you work with the youth?
I do.
What do you do with the youth?
I do. So, that the production company has been blessed, man. I've seen countless dollars, man. 6 figures is the floor, the bottom floor for me now. I'm more interested in how I can make money for other people now. How like these young people, I have a program that teaches or that uses these creative tools and techniques, right, to get these kids into a better path. I'm just using these things, recording and music and arts and videography, cinematography to connect with them into something that they're already into. And so through that, we create and we rewire the brain and how you think and make you lose these those illogical ideologies that growing up in the neighborhood would teach you. Yeah, and potentially we hire some.
It's amazing, man, that you go from the grind to losing yourself to now building your own business and now wanting to go back and help the youth. And it's great that you aren't trying to become a personal trainer, because that's when I was listening to a podcast, and there's a great trainer that I follow named Bruce Bruno, and he talks about that all the time. Like, a lot of personal trainers are just failed athletes.
Right.
And it's great I love when I see people who are athletes and they let it go. Like, hey, that was a part of my life, but not who I am anymore.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go pursue what I really want to do, because I feel sometimes as we're kids, some people can get forced into lanes of things because of our parents or because of our circumstances, and then we never truly become who we want to be. That goes in different kind of facets. You become this athlete because you're big and your size, athleticism. So you got to be an athlete. You can't be 6'5" and be a pianist.
Right.
Like, why not?
Right.
Why not?
Right. Makes sense.
And it sucks that the world we're like that. We put these, like, even Tia. You know Tia.
I know Tia.
When you're 6'2" as a female, you got to play sports. You got to do this and that. And now here she is, very successful in what she does. She's a top lead in her job in the company she works for, and it's great. But your whole life, you're forced to be an athlete or something.
A real stud muffin. Shout out Tia. My dog Tia.
Shout out to Cam when he dunked on her. You remember that?
That was bad.
Yeah.
We whooped y'all ass.
Anyways, so
damn.
But back to the point is, it's. I'm not a parent, so I like to give parents an advice, but I think it's important if parents allow their kids to be kids first.
Yeah.
Let them learn and play with different sports and instruments and just different stuff, because then you think you're an athlete your whole life. Granted, you found yourself, but there's some people out there.
Right.
They become personal trainers because they feel like they have to. They don't know nothing else.
Exactly.
They never had a time to experience or practice something else. They might love art. They might love this, but the world sees you up. You're 6 feet, whatever. You're athletic. You can't be whatever.
Now they start vicariously living through you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I see it all the time, because I work in that personal training space. So I see a lot of, I don't want to call them failed, because it's not failed. You played a sport, especially you play college. If you make it to college as an athlete, bro, you made it past a lot of people you'll ever meet. On top of you get a scholarship, bro, there's people who won't ever get that opportunity. They're paying for school and they won't finish.
Right.
Brad too.
Who's Brad? Randall?
No,
Overran.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's same era as you.
He should be acting.
Shout out to Brad.
Yeah.
Speaking of athletes turning into trainers, he's good though. He's doing his thing. He's found himself also, which I think is beautiful.
Yeah.
I know a lot of linemen also become bodyguards.
Yeah.
But you can get paid money.
Absolutely.
Suge Knight.
Yeah.
He was an athlete turned bodyguard.
I was better than Suge Knight, by the way. Let's go ahead.
And what way? Is that what you're starting over there? Is that Gas Station Records? Is that what that is?
No. I mean, no, we definitely better.
Tired of the producer dancing.
You can get out of your contract with your legs.
Come to Gas Station Studio.
Yeah.
We're gonna wrap up here in a second. Anything you got coming up in February? It's Black History Month. What you got coming up? Talk to the camera if you have anything you want to promote. Your business.
I don't think I have anything specific I want to promote, but what I will say is, our team was chosen. I'm gonna say that was chosen to produce this MLK documentary. It's about how MLK's impact affected Las Vegas specifically. We're also doing a huge documentary on one of the housing projects here on behalf of the state and the housing authority. This is called the Marble Manor complex. And Marble Manor was actually a huge part of, Black history. So that month, and speaking in February in Black History Month, this documentary is a big thing, as it will speak to Black history in Nevada and in Las Vegas specifically. So no like huge events. We will be filming some feature films. So if there are any creative people, directors, actors, any of that stuff, you see this podcast, please reach out. We want to include you in the things that are going on. But outside of that, just call _gas, the gas station studios here in town. I'll be around.
I'll make sure to tag your Instagram. You have your separate one for your business too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tag them both into here. And I also know a gentleman out here I met recently. He does short films. May I connect you with him? I forgot his name. I have his card. But he had a film fest not too long ago at the Palms, and he does shorts, films, black dude.
Okay, dope.
Before we finish, last question for you. Is there a quote or mantra you live by? What is it and why?
I don't think, I don't know how much time I got to think about that.
Go ahead.
Honestly, one that comes to mind, bro, is that Nike shit. Just do it, bro. I think that was so beautiful. I've been studying Nike in this time of my life as I get into marketing, film and all types of stuff. But when you just stop thinking about the shit and stop making excuses and you just do it, bro, it's so impactful. It's so impactful. So that's going to be my quote for today. And I'm going to live by that quote today.
All right. I love it. And I agree. Just do it. I think we overanalyze.
Mm-hmm.
We think of the pros and cons too much instead of just doing and then allowing what's the word? Repercussions? I don't know.
That can work.
So instead of just doing and then seeing what happens after that and being able to accept that. So I go do this thing instead of thinking so much about it.
Yeah.
Didn't work out this way, worked out that way. You're okay and you understand how to accept that and maneuver.
Absolutely.
Because you can sit there and play pros and cons all you want, but you're not even going to know if those pros are real or those cons are real until you actually do the thing.
Exactly.
And yeah, man, I get tired of people just overthinking stuff. I used to have a homeboy like that. I had to stop hanging out with him because it was just every time my idea would come up or we try to do this, it might get out my face. I'd rather just do, look stupid, mess up, and keep going again and get back up. Bro, you're talking to somebody who fell out a 4-story window. Come on, dude. I know
you did what?
Fell out a 4-story window.
You fell or you like?
Fell. Rubber place.
That's another conversation.
All this time you knew me, you know that? Yeah.
It takes a little effort.
Rebel place.
Fucking fall.
2014, 4 floors.
4 stories.
You talking to a legend in front of you, buddy. X-Man. You ever seen 300?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Xerxes.
I don't know.
I am a kind God.
I don't know.
I'm just kidding. Well, thank you, Tyler, for coming on, sharing your story, being open and vulnerable. I really believe what you went through and the way you were able to transform yourself is inspiration for other athletes out there, ex-athletes, or just people in general. They don't have to be athlete. Somebody who thought they were going to do something the rest of their life and had to pivot.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're unsure how to pivot.
Yeah.
Now they're going to hear your story like, damn, I can start my own record label too.
It's possible.
If you need anybody sing ad libs or hooks,
okay, let's go ahead and
let me know.
And rap.
Sign me.
Can we rap?
Sign me. You're gonna do freestyle?
No.
Rap. Oh,
rap it.
Here we go.
Okay.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. I'm gonna tag his Instagram, his business Instagram. Check him out if you're looking for production, music, film, podcast, the gas station studio here in Las Vegas. And I'm gonna leave you with the word, your favorite part. Starting over humbles you before it strengthens you. Rebuilding will feel small at first, but that rock bottom moment is needed for you to build a stronger foundation. 2 words, keep growing. We out.
The freaky fingers.